So what would I do if somebody had a knife and I was cornered? What would Studio 3 do about that? I've been asked this question so many times, it's tiresome. I'm not crazy, I'm not cavalier, and actually, I'll be honest with you, in the work situation, on 2 occasions I have been threatened with a knife. On both occasions, I was very scared. On both occasions, I managed to get myself out of a room. In the second occasion, I had somebody who was very traumatised with a very blunt knife screaming at me that he was going to stab me. And I asked him, could he put the knife down calmly? He screamed at me, why? And I told him, because you're scaring me, and I'm really scared. He put the knife down, carried on screaming at me. One of the problems all the time about the extremes is the extremes make very bad training. Shall we train for an earthquake, or shall we train for day-to-day accidents that we could help people with, like CPR training, for example? I know where I would focus on this, but we can't get away from this stereotype all the time that people keep pushing about the 9'6" person from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with the carving knife. The answer is simple. No amount of intensive training is going to keep you safe in those circumstances. But the real question is, how do you get yourself in that situation in the first place? I often have to remind people that we're not in the army, thank God, they have a difficult job to do, or the police. Our job is to contain a situation and to help and support that person. I remember years ago I was on a martial arts training course, which I don't normally talk about, and somebody talked about, could you take a knife off someone with your level of skill? And the answer is, 8 times out of 10, I probably could in those days, when I was young and fit and I didn't have grey hair. But it still meant 2 times out of 10, I'd get stabbed. So really the best statistical number is to try and back off from people in those situations. Even in care homes, there's a time to call the police. It's not our job to see ourselves as agents of control. It's not our job to see ourselves as prison guards. It's our job to be caring, to be nurturing. And that, again, within my book, I hope comes over about the whole Studio 3 approach. We're realists, we're practical, but we're not going to keep talking about extreme scenarios all the time. What if, what if, what if? All what if generates is more fear. If you sit in a room on your own and think about enough scary situations, COVID's a good example more recently, you can frighten yourself to death without anyone else contributing to that. What we need to understand is it's human nature to be scared. I've been scared in care situations. I'm not immune to that. But I'm not also vaccinated and inoculated against violence.